Welcome back to the video, and today is my tea and chat video, and I'm going to be talking about something that I wanted to make a video on for a while, but I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to do it, and I just decided this weekend to just put the camera on and start talking, and hopefully it will all make sense. Anyway, if you don't know me, my name is Rachel. I'm a solo mum to one, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about my co-parenting journey with my ex-husband and my son. I'm not going to give away any personal private details, so if you know me by now, you know I don't say my son's name, I don't say his age, I call my ex-husband, I don't say his name or anything, because I want to keep some things private, and also I want to protect especially my son, but I also want to protect my ex-husband as well. So this is just my side of the story, how I overcome challenges, how I learned to work with my ex-husband to have a really good co-parenting relationship with him now. Now, when we first started our co-parenting relationship, I was actually 6 months pregnant. That's when my marriage broke down. It was very, very difficult at the beginning. There was a lot of arguments. There was a lot of tears and anger and frustration. I'm sure on both sides, not just mine. But over the years, we have learned different strategies. We've had to learn things ourselves to help each other. And now we have a wonderful co-parenting relationship. And I wouldn't say that we are friends per se, but we definitely have a good relationship when it regards our son. So I just want to make it really clear as well that this is not for everybody, and everyone that is on a co-parenting journey will have a different story. They might not have a good ex-partner. They might be dealing with a lot of issues themselves. So please, this is just something that I have gone through, that hopefully it will give you some ideas, some tips to be able to have a better co-parenting relationship with your partner. Now, saying that, it's not easy. It really isn't easy. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time to build, but once you get there, it's much more relaxed to be able to do it. So please take these tips of what resonates with you, what would help you in your relationship with your ex-partner, and most importantly, protect your own energy. And the final thing before I actually get into the main video is to don't compare yourself to other co-parenting relationships that you see, because even though it might look like they've got it nailed and they've got it perfect, doesn't mean it naturally happened that way. That took a lot of work and time and effort with each other and on their own personal journey as well. So take your time, be gentle with yourself, implement things that are suitable for you and suitable for your ex-partner. And if it doesn't work, that's okay, try something else. And if any of these tips in this video doesn't work for you, that's okay too. Again, just leave it where it is and try again. Now, if you are also a co-parent and it works for you, and any tips that you may have extra on top of what I'm giving, put them in the comment box below, because it will really help other people too. Now, as I said, my co-parenting journey started before I actually had my son. I was 6 months pregnant when my marriage ended. We don't need to go into the details of what happened. At the start of it, my ex wasn't involved to start with, but he is very much now. So he's a great, great dad now. So our co-parenting relationship is actually through a court order. That's where it started, through a court order. So the court order did say that my ex could have our son every Wednesday from 4 p.m. till 6 p.m. and then every other Saturday. That was it, just a Saturday. That was where it first started. Now we're at a point where my ex-husband has our son every Wednesday. He picks him up from school until 7 p.m. and he also has him every other weekend. He picks him up from school on Friday and he takes him to school on Monday. Then I go and collect him from school on Monday. So as you can see, the journey over the years has started very, very small, and it's built to where it is now. Now, both of us, my ex-husband, myself and our son, are very happy with the arrangement and very happy with the setup. Now, I'll quickly go through what we do with holidays. So let's say we have 1 week of half-term holiday. We do it 2.5 days each. We keep our weekends exactly the same. Then I would have our son Monday, Tuesday and half of Wednesday. And then he would go to my ex for half of Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. So we usually do it where I would have the weekend and have the first half of the week. And then my ex would have the other half of the week and then his weekend as well. If it's the summer holidays, we do exactly the same, but we also spend a whole week with our son. So my ex-husband is going to take our son away on holiday for 7 days, and I will also have our son for a whole 7 days as well. And this year we are going on that Disney cruise, so that is our holiday. The rest of the time we split equally, 2.5 days each, and our weekends remain the same. When it comes to bank holidays, so when I'm recording this, we have just had a bank holiday. We take it in turns. Now in the UK, we have 5 bank holidays a year. So this year, my ex-husband had 3 bank holidays and I had 2. And then next year, I will have 3 and he will have 2. The final thing after that is Christmas. So what we do, we alternate years. So one year my ex-husband will have Christmas Eve and half of Christmas Day. I will have half of Christmas Day and Boxing Day, and then we split the rest equally. And the following year we switch. So then I would have Christmas Eve and half of Christmas Day, and he would have half of Christmas Day and Boxing Day. Now, a lot of people say, oh, that's such a pain because you have, you don't get the whole day with him. But we both feel that it's really important for our son to see both parents on Christmas Day. So we alternate it. As our son gets older and he decides he wants to do something different, we'll all talk about it together and we'll make a decision that fits all 3 of us. But right now, that is what works for us. So our son and us as parents both get to see our son on Christmas Day. Now, some parents, as I said before, have one day of Christmas Day and the following year it'll be the other parent. And I've even known some single parents where they still spend Christmas Day together so they can both enjoy their children or child having Christmas presents and enjoying that day. So again, it's what works for you and the relationship you have with your ex. This is just what works for us. Now, the communication between the 2 of us. When it first started, as I said, we were going through court. We went through court for 2 years. So the only way that we could contact each other was either through a solicitor or through mediation. Then it got to a point where we would email each other. So there was always a paper trail where we would email each other everything. We wouldn't actually talk. When it was drop off, I would drop him off, just tell him anything that he would need to know, and I would drive off again. There'd be no chit chat, no small talk, nothing. It would be very, very direct and to the point. So we emailed for a very, very long time, and mediation only stopped in January of 2024. So yes, it's been a very long time. Now my ex and I talk each other through messages, whether that's text or WhatsApp or email. We still email each other, but not as often. We can usually do it through a text or we do it through the WhatsApp messenger. And now we're even at a point where if there's a problem, I can call my ex-husband and we can have a good conversation about something. The other day I actually went over to my local park to see my son play a little bit of football because I had to take something over for my ex, and I stood there for 30 minutes just having a general chat with my ex-husband about his family, about my family, and about life in general, just chit-chatting as you would with somebody at the school gate. So it's now got to that point. If our son is with me or he's with my ex and we want to talk to our son, then we are quite happy to do a video call at any particular time that needs to be done. If my son's having a problem at school and I need to talk to my ex about it, I can just message him and say, can you call me when you've got 5 minutes? And he'll just give me a ring and I'll discuss it with him. So as you can see, where it started to where it is now has been a very, very long journey. So don't feel like you can split up and go straight to this point here, because it doesn't work that way. When you split up with someone, it's all new, you're hurting, you're frightened because like you've been with this person for a really long time. I was with my ex-husband for 7 years. Okay, we were only married for 15 months before we split up. But I had grown accustomed to that way of life with him in it. And I was pregnant. So all these thoughts I had about how I was going to have this life with my son and us as a couple was just gone, and I was on my own. And that's a really, really scary feeling. And the loneliness that comes with it is really scary as well. And there's a lot of unexpected feelings that you're going to have that you didn't even think would be there. So be gentle with yourself and don't feel that you're going to split up and you're going to get straight to this point, because it is a journey. So be patient with yourself, be kind with yourself, and I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. I know a lot of parents use a calendar to communicate with each other. They put in like they need their daughter or their son on this day, or there's something happening and they can't have them on this day. So you keep an eye on that calendar. My ex and I just don't tend to do that. We tried and I'm just rubbish with calendars. I'm not good with it. So what we do is, like I've just said, we email or text. If my ex-husband needs to go away with work, if you know on this channel, my ex-husband does go away quite often with his work. and I have to take full responsibility for my son, which is absolutely fine. I do that any day of the week. He just messages me or just emails me with dates and times, and we just communicate that way. But if a calendar would work better for you, then do set up a shared calendar so that you can keep an eye on what's going on, and whether you want to take your child somewhere but they've already got something booked in, then you can rearrange your life that way when it comes to regarding your child. Now, one big thing that I did do from day dot, and it is one of the hardest things to do when you are feeling all these emotions, is to make sure that you stay child focused. It's all about the child. The breakup that you had with your partner has got nothing to do with the child or children that you have. So make sure that you stay child focused. Now, when I was going through my court battle and my barrister would come up to me and ask me a question, I would give him my first initial reaction. Like, he asked me something and my first reaction was like, no. And then I said, just give me a minute to calm down. And then I thought about what would be best for our son, not what's best for me, not what emotion I'm feeling. I'm hurt, I'm angry, I'm annoyed. I don't want him to have anything, because it had nothing to do with that. It was what was best for them. So when they come at you with a question or they come at you with anything, just take a step back and have your initial reaction, and then think, what's best for my child? Is it best for my child to have that? Or do I think that's actually not going to be good for them? You need to take your emotion out of it, which is a very hard thing to do, and it takes a lot of practice to do. But make sure that you are always staying child focused. It's about them, not about you. If your partner cheated on you, it's not your child's fault that happened. If your partner did something financially, or just took your trust away in some way, or whatever happened, there's many reasons why people break up. Cheating is obviously the main one that everyone thinks of, but there's many reasons why two people split up. Whatever that reason was, it's got nothing to do with your child. So when you are making decisions based on the welfare and the communication and where your child is going to go, it's got to be based on them. It's very hard to do, and I'm not saying it's easy, but this kind of situation very much needs to be child focused. So as long as you're always putting them at the forefront of any decision you need to make, then you're doing the right thing. However, if you don't think it's a good thing for your child, then you need to make sure you're communicating with your ex-partner why you don't think it's right, and is there a compromise that you could do to make it a little bit easier. So that is something that I very much had to do, put my child first and learning to compromise and finding that middle ground. Now, it's very hard to find that middle ground when they're not willing to do so, but this is where you need to remain strong and you need to remain calm and to be able to say, look, I don't want to do that. Let's try and find a middle ground together, but I can't find that middle ground unless you work with me, because we've got to put our child before anything else. So that's one little tip that I'm going to share with you that was very hard for me to do, but it's necessary to do. Now, saying that, there are some things you are going to have to let go of. There's no reason why there isn't. There's no reason why that can't happen. You just don't want it to happen. Again, you're putting your feelings before your child, and you'll know that feeling. It will become very clear what that feeling is, especially if you are in tune with who you are. Because learning about yourself in this situation is extremely important when you are going for a breakup and you're learning this whole new way of life. But when your ex-partner comes at you with something and they're really defensive over it and they're really kind of, this is what's going to happen, pick your battles. Sometimes it's worth saying, yeah, go for it. My son or my daughter is perfectly safe. Don't need the drama. Protect your energy. That's the most important thing. Sometimes you just need to let go. You just need to let it happen for your own peace and your own energy. Now, in a co-parenting relationship and being single again, or starting a whole new journey on your own or with someone new, or whatever your situation may be, you have to adjust and adapt very, very quickly. And it's really, really hard to do. So now you've had this way of life where you've had your other person, the father or the mother of your child, helping you out, doing different things, and now you are completely alone and you have to adjust, and adjusting takes time. So don't think you have to adjust, you split up with them one day and the next day you have to have it all worked out, because you won't. It's a very long process. You're still adjusting to the way of life, you're finding new routine, and as we all know, as kids grow, that routine is constantly changing. So make sure that you can adjust to routine, not quickly, but you are aware that it needs to be adjusted. So rather than go, oh, I don't know what's happening, why is this happening now? Just try and say to yourself, okay, we're changing again. Let's take a moment to sit, pause, and figure out how to do it. Because being a co-parent and a single parent is about adjusting and adapting to a new way of life. Because now your responsibilities are very different. Where you come together to have those responsibilities together, now you are on your own. So even though you still have responsibilities as parents, they are different now. So it's going to be more uneven. It's going to be a very rocky path for a little while until you can find a new way of adjusting. So your responsibilities for you and your ex-partner are going to be uneven for a little while. Be prepared for that. Be aware of that. And just try and find that middle ground till you find that state of flow again. One other very, very important thing is to let go of any resentment. Yes, they may have hurt you. Yes, they may have been a right bugger. I want to say a lot more than that. But yes, they may have done those things to you, but you have to let go of what you think is fair. Well, this person cheated on me and he did this or she did that to me. It's not fair. Why are they allowed to do that now? You have to let go of the fair. You have to let go of it because, like I said before, it's child focused, not you focused. And that may sound really harsh, but it's the truth. And sometimes the truth has to sound harsh. It's not you focused, it's child focused. So things are not going to be fair. Things are not going to be the way that you want it to be. It's about adjusting and adapting so that you are both on a middle ground, and it takes time. Because all of that will feel very much out of your control. Like you are in control of something, and not being in control of something, especially when it comes to something as important as a child, that's very, very scary place. And you can become very defensive very, very quickly. So it's about letting go of what's fair, going with the flow a little bit, setting your boundaries, which is something we're going to come to in a little while, but there are things that you can control. Now, one of those things you can control is having stability in your own home. Now, what goes on in your ex-partner's home with the child, there's really nothing to do with you. As long as your child is safe and being cared for and looked after correctly, there's nothing you can control about it. You just got to let it be as it is and be there for your child when they come back to you. But creating stability in your home is going to be one of the most important things you can do for you and for your child. The physical stability, but more than that, it's about the emotional stability. So if they're having a rough time with the other parent, they know that when they come to you and your home with them, then they are safe and they are secure and they are happy. And they know that when they come back to mummy or when they come back to daddy, then they've got a safe, secure, stable home with that person physically and emotionally. And one thing that really helps with that, especially with young children, is routine. Having a routine will really help, especially with the younger children. My child is still in the younger age bracket. He's not in double digits yet, so he's still in the younger age bracket. So and the routine has changed consistently throughout that time that we've been doing this co-parenting relationship. But having a routine, something that they know, something that they feel safe with, something that they haven't got to second guess when they are with you, is really going to help them grow as a person and feel safe. Be their safe space. That's what you need to be. Be their safe space. Now, if both of you can do that and they both feel that both homes are their safe space, you're on to a winner. But if one isn't and one is, you need to be the one that makes that safe, stable home. Now, this is the one which really, really helped my ex and I start to have a better co-parenting relationship and a relationship together for the sake of our son. Now, I didn't do this for a very, very long time because I was grieving, which I'll go into next, but it is setting those boundaries and actually forcing those boundaries too. Now, a lot of people say you've got to set boundaries, and people do, but then they don't enforce them. And what's the point in having a boundary if you're not actually going to enforce it? So you need to set your boundaries. So when I started doing this with my ex-husband, and I was very firm, I was very direct, I was very assertive with him, everything changed. And my boundaries wasn't extreme. My boundaries wasn't my way or the highway. It was very much, we were still communicating with mediation until January 2024, until I said no more. At that point, we were both in our 40s, and I said, if we are two 40-year-olds who can't communicate, we definitely have a problem. And then from that moment, we've been so much better. I put boundaries in place. If I don't agree with something, I'm quite happy to air it to him. I don't go to him in an angry manner. I just say, can we go and grab a coffee? Can we have a phone call? Because something's not sitting right with me. Can we discuss this so that we can find a middle ground? I have been with coffee with my ex-husband quite a few times to sit and talk about things that we're not happy with. We sometimes, not every month, but every 2-3 months, we have a phone call just to talk about anything that we've got a problem with. We talk about our child, and is there anything that we particularly need to discuss, or how we think things are going, or is there anything that he said to him or he said to me that we need to make each other aware of. But we're at that point now, but it took years to get to this point. Now, a lot of people that watch my video know my story. There are people in my life that still watch my videos, and they know kind of what happened. I don't tell everybody exactly what happened, but they know what happened. And I think they will agree that from where I was from day one to where my ex and I are now is a massive, massive jump, and it's a massive progress. But boundaries are so important for you, for your ex-partner, and for your children. So if you are going to set boundaries, then you need to make sure you enforce them and you stay firm. You don't need to be aggressive. You don't need to be my way or the highway, but you're like, this is my boundary, and I'm not willing to go past that boundary, but I'm willing to make a compromise around it. So set your boundaries. If you haven't got any boundaries, start thinking what boundaries you want to have in the co-parenting relationship and set them, and tell them, this is now my boundary. I'm not happy when you do this. If you want to do that, then we need to have a discussion. Because saying no to something does not make you aggressive, does not make it difficult, does not make someone, she's really hard work or he's really hard work because he says no all the time. If you are saying no to a boundary that is going to make you extremely uncomfortable, something that you don't agree with, something that doesn't align with your core values, then you have that right to say no. And as long as you're not difficult with it, we don't need to do that, but it's very much being firm, calm, direct and assertive to saying, no, I don't want this to happen, but I'm willing to come up with some kind of compromise that will suit us both. And you need to have that in you, and that takes time. So don't go there thinking I'm going to do this. You need to be in the right mindset. Now, I am starting another YouTube channel with all about mindset. So once that is up, I will let you know, and hopefully that will help you get your mindset straight, especially as a single parent. But please remember that saying no does not make you difficult if it is in line with your values and it's your boundary. If you're still with me at this point in the video, thank you so much for staying around, and thank you so much for listening to me. Please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos from me. And if you really like this kind of video and you like learning about this stuff, then do let me know in the comments, and I will do more co-parenting videos for you as well. Now, I'm almost finished, but I do want to go through a few more things before I wrap the video up. And this is going to be more about you. And I just want to firstly say, if you are starting on your co-parenting journey, it's okay to grieve. You don't need to be a martyr. You don't need to be this strong, independent woman or independent man that can do everything. If you need to sit and you need to cry and you need to punch a pillow or whatever, it's okay to do that. It's okay to grieve what you hoped would happen. If you had someone in your life for a really long time, you had all these plans as a family to build and to do, and you haven't been able to do them, it's okay to grieve that. You had the hopes and the dreams, and it's okay to feel sad about that. It's okay to cry and be angry that that hasn't happened. Be gentle with yourself and let those emotions come out. It's the easiest thing to do, is to let the emotions come out of you. Let your emotions be known. Okay, even if you just want to do it on your own at night in the bedroom. I cried myself to sleep for about 4 years straight. And every now and again I still cry myself to sleep from having a difficult time. But it's okay to grieve. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. If you bottle it up, when it comes out, it's horrible. So if you need to let it out or rant or whatever, go to someone that you know and someone you trust that you can rant all this out to, and someone that is happy to listen to you rant, knowing that it's just an emotion that you need to get out of your system. Because the most important thing when you are going through this journey is eventually getting to the point of acceptance of what is actually happened, and this is now going to be your new life, and it's also about growing as a person and evolving. So even though it doesn't feel like it, this is actually done for you, not to you. So there's something even better coming. And right now you just think, yeah, okay, this is the worst moment of my life, and I get that, I've been there. But trust me, there are better things coming in your life, and it is going to turn around for you. Might not turn around today or next week or next year, but it took many years for my life to turn around, but it does turn around. So just accept who you are, accept the situation, and start growing and learning about who you are. Because once you start learning about you, then everything starts to change again, but for a much better reason. Now, if you know me, you know that I love to read books. I learn from books. I grow and develop from reading books and listening to motivational YouTube videos, which is why I want to start my own channel of mindset and motivation, because it's helped me so much and I want to help other people. But I just want to quickly run through a few books that I have read and that I've reread over and over again to help me with my child and myself as a person. I will link all these books in the description box below, so if you want to go and buy them, then you've got the link already. Now, the first one is The Best Seat in the Universe. This is my absolute favourite book. It's a personal development book in a story form. So you're not actually like, do this and do that. It's a story. It's very spiritual. So if you are a spiritual woo-woo person, you are going to love this. This has changed my life, and this is my 4th time reading this book, and I absolutely love it. Okay, another book that I have read that's helped me on my journey. I've read lots of different books, but these are ones that have really helped. Is this one by Dr. Shefali? I don't know. That one. And it's called A Radical Awakening. It's about you awakening as a person. It's such a good book. I absolutely love it. So again, I will link it in the description box below. It's talking about turning your pain into power, and embracing your truth, embracing who you are. So remember, like I said, it's all a learning and growing experience, but The Radical Awakening is a great book to have. She also wrote a parenting book, which I am halfway through. I kind of pick it up and put it down, but it's called The Parenting Map, and it's a step-by-step solutions to consciously creating good parenting. Now, if you are a parent or solo parent or whatever kind of parent you are, then reading this is really going to help with learning about how the best way to parent. Now, everything in there I don't agree with at all, but the things I do agree with, I've implemented, and it's really worked well with my son. And then these are the last few parenting books that I have read that have not only helped with how I talk and be with my son, but it's also helped me learn about myself as a parent, realizing things that I've actually done wrong and being able to fix them. Now, this 2 books has been absolutely life-changing with my son, and I have put the things in place and it has changed the game on certain things. I do have to read them again, because if you know, I'm having some challenges with my son. I'm hoping by rereading these, they are going to help me see something that I haven't seen before. So one is How to Talk to Kids and Kids Will Listen, and Listen so Kids Will Talk. And How to Talk So Little Kids Will Listen. Now, this is aimed at 2 to 7 year olds, and I don't know about this one, but still, if your child is still over 7, read this one. If you've got teenagers, there is one book about teenagers as well, but I will link them all in the description. But these 2 books are fantastic. And the one book that I'm actually reading at the moment, which is just unbelievable, and I'm only not even a quarter of the way through, is The Whole Brain Child. Now, a teacher at my son's school recommended this to me, and I bought it ages ago. I read a little bit, put it down, read it a little bit, but I started reading it again, and I'm only literally 22 pages in, so I'm really early into it, but it is such a good book. If you want to know about how the brain works in your child, but also how your brain could work, I highly recommend this book. Now, before I wrap up this video, I just want to end on a positive note. And as I said before, life is always changing. And even though right now you might be right in the trenches of it all and feeling a lot of different feelings, but just be kind to yourself and know that it does work out. It does, I promise you. A long time ago when this first started, I thought my whole life was over. I didn't know what was going to happen next. Many years on, I still have no idea what's going to happen next, but good things do start happening. Life does start changing, and it is going to be a much better and happier life for you. Remember, these things come to challenge us. These things come to change us and grow and evolve us as a person. And everything happens for you, not to you, even when you have no idea why. Eventually, it will all come into picture view, and you'll be able to see why this happened for you. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind with yourself. And if you are a solo parent and this resonated with you, then do drop down in the comments just to get a heart, a like, a little bit of support and encouragement from me. If you want more videos on co-parenting, again, do let me know and I will do another co-parenting video for you. If there's any particular topic you'd like me to go through about co-parenting, again, let me know in the comments. And finally, if you are also a co-parent and you have found different ways that have helped you, a different strategy, because every co-parenting journey is different, do drop them down in the comments so we can all learn and help from each other. If you liked today's video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos from me. I hope whenever you're watching this, you're having a good morning, good day or good evening, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching.